Hello and welcome to Man Plays Game. Brave at Night made a game called Yes, Your Grace, and I played it. In Yes, Your Grace, you are charged with protecting the realm of Davern. You play as Eric, the King of Davern, and of course you run into problems almost immediately. There's an invading army coming for you, and you don't have enough soldiers to repel them. In the weeks leading up to the battle, Eric must make political allies to secure an army large enough to protect his wife, 3 daughters, and the kingdom. While addressing the larger threat on the horizon, the king must also address immediate problems brought to him by his subjects. Problems like bandits, floods, lost children, and constipation. You heard me. At the end of each week, you collect taxes in the form of supplies and gold. It is then redistributed to keep the kingdom running and the people happy. The gameplay is intuitive, and after a nicely integrated tutorial, you are able to navigate menus and allocate resources like you've been running Davern for years. When dealing with requests from peasants, you have the option of giving gold, food, or the services of your agents. Sending these agents usually ties them up for a couple of weeks, so timing is a factor in the decision. Even with the complexities of planning things weeks in advance, this is a very forgiving resource sim. If you are fiscally responsible, you can get through the entire game just by using bank loans. There are also save points for the last 8 weeks, so you never have to go back too far to change a mistake. The economy part of the game is balanced by the drama of Eric's family. I feel like this was the most successful part of the game. They are a thoughtful collection of characters with history and depth. Their interactions with each other made a convincing family dynamic which made me care more about their happiness and well-being. This became important because as the story unfolds, you have to make some difficult decisions between your family and the kingdom. The entire game is well laid out and also very beautiful, replicating the visual style of old point-and-click adventures like the original King's Quest. The amount of detail given to the kingdom and the characters helped breathe life into a game that realistically takes place in just 6 areas. I enjoyed existing in this world because of the lovely presentation and story. However, parts of the game battled itself and ultimately took me out of the experience. Yes, Your Grace has conflicting identities. From one perspective, it's a visual novel with a large cast of characters that grows and has a definitive end. Another perspective would be that it's a resource management sim, where politics and ethics affect the scenario. The third aspect is a choose-your-own-adventure game, where different endings are found based on your decisions. The issue is that all 3 are equally present and not allowing for a singular or cohesive identity. For example, in the game there is talk of hiring more agents. You have a general, a witch, and a hunter to handle specific tasks. I just want to make it clear that you can't hire generals, witches, or hunters. They are introduced as part of the story. Even if you have resources to spare, you cannot hire more help. This limitation is an example of the developers keeping you confined within the story. If you had too strong a fighting force, major plot points would make no sense, so the player's choice to grow resources is ultimately pointless. There are also moral choices that are left unresolved. You can become involved in some pretty shady business early on in the game and are warned several times that the decision can lead to negative consequences. You definitely make good money from these decisions, but the consequences never appear. It's frustrating that whether or not you choose to be the most morally bankrupt ruler does not significantly change difficulty or the plot. There are big obvious choices that undoubtedly change the ending of the game. Unfortunately, I did not find the changes to be a fair reward for an entire second playthrough. Realizing this early on made me feel like I was being taunted by the many dialogue trees that I knew would have no meaningful impact. And it seems that the choices players usually make lead to the good ending anyway. So my question is, why have different endings in the first place? There are so many other static plot points in this game that I would have rather enjoyed one fully fleshed out story once than have to click through all of these meaningless choices just to get another slight variation on the original ending. That sounds harsh when I say the choices are meaningless. However, to preserve the plot, that is exactly what the developers did. I know it seems like I'm giving this game a hard time, but I'm just disappointed. It could have been more streamlined and focused on delivering a solid story, but the developer couldn't decide what kind of game it was going to be. While elements found moments of harmony, it became clear on the second playthrough that there was really only one story, and that was going to get told whether you chose it or not. The gameplay was solid and the story was enjoyable, but this could not save the fact that it missed its own mark. I have to give Yes, Your Grace a 2 out of 5. Meaning I would only recommend picking it up on discount because the game lacks challenge and is not worth multiple playthroughs. The story of the family is good, but it's not endearing enough to bump this game up to a 3. Anyway, what did you think of Yes Your Grace? Yay or nay? Let me know all about it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and take care.